Well, I finally managed to play through Metroid Prime again for the second time. I played through this game originally on the GameCube about 20 years ago, and I have such good memories of playing this game, remembering it to be one of the best games I've played in its time. It's been such a difficult game to play through and such a difficult review to write, but today I'm going to take you through some of my thoughts here in 2025. Today we're diving deep into the Metroid Prime Remastered, a modern refresh of the 2002 classic that redefined first-person adventure gaming. Whether you're a long-term fan or a curious newcomer, this is a title that you don't want to miss, and certainly with the upcoming release of Metroid Prime 4, I thought it was a good time to explore what makes this remaster not just a nostalgic trip, but an essential Switch experience. First, let's talk a little bit about the history of this game. Metroid Prime launched on the GameCube in 2002, developed by Retro Studios under Nintendo. It was a radical shift. The series moved from a 2D to a full 3D, embracing the first-person perspective. And yet, it didn't become a shooter, it became a first-person adventure, preserving the series' DNA of exploration, upgrades, and backtracking. Fast forward over 20 years, and we now have Metroid Prime Remastered here on the Nintendo Switch. This isn't just a port. It's a complete graphical overhaul with modernised controls, and it's a love letter to one of gaming's most atmospheric worlds. Let's start with the visuals. This is a massive upgrade on the original. Retro Studios has painstakingly rebuilt textures, models, lighting, pretty much everything. Environments now look dense and alive, beautiful detail. Reflections on Samus's visor, improved particle effects, and more dynamic lighting give the game a fresh, modern coat without losing any of its eerie, immersive vibe. Even small touches like fog, rain droplets on the visor, and subtle enemy animations have been refined. This isn't nostalgic goggles, this is one of the best looking games on the Switch at the moment. But saying that, this is still one of the biggest problems. The Switch is now really showing its age. This game runs at about 900p, but it is a locked 60 FPS. The graphics are nice and a massive improvement over the original, but don't expect to be getting blown away compared to modern day gaming. The core gameplay remains unchanged, and that is a good thing, but it is showing its cracks in today's gaming. You explore Tannen 4, unlocking new abilities like the Morph Ball, Grapple Beam, Power Bomb, which in turn let you access new areas. It is pure Metroidvania, tightly designed and incredibly satisfying. But here's the magic of the remaster. It finally gives players options. You can play with the original lock-on tank controls, you can choose motion controls inspired by the Wii version, or you can choose a new, dual-stick modern controls like the standard FPSs, or even a hybrid of the schemes. The dual-stick option is a game-changer for accessibility and fluidity. It's never been easier or more enjoyable to move and aim as Samus, and it's certainly an improvement of the GameCube original. The soundtrack by Kenji Yamamoto remains a masterclass in atmosphere, from the haunting melodies of the Chozo ruins to the tension-inducing echoes of the Space Pirate Labs. The music is minimalist, but powerful. It never overwhelms the experience, it only complements it. Sound design is also top tier. The echoes of Samus's footsteps, the hum of the suit, and the unsettling screeches of alien creatures all feed into the game's lonely alien tone. This is environmental storytelling done through sound, and it's even more potent now as it was in 2002. You'll find yourself humming the soundtrack as you make your way through these environments, and who can forget that iconic title screen music? One thing Metroid Prime has always done well is the sense of progression. You're never handheld, and you most likely will get lost, but hopefully not for long. The game trusts that you pay attention and remember details. If you're used to modern objective marks and quest logs, you might feel old school at first, but once you settle into the rhythm, it's incredibly rewarding. The level design is looped and interconnected, encouraging you to revisit old areas with new tools, constantly unveiling secrets. Those moments when you can realise you can go through that door from about 5 hours ago, it's just as satisfying today. But with this comes one of my biggest problems with the Metroid Prime games. You will get lost, and it is a game that you're most likely going to need a guide to. Once you've unlocked almost all of the abilities that let you access the entire map, you're then tasked with this egregious backtracking task of getting 12 artifacts from different locations on the map. It feels bloated, feels unnecessary, and in today's day, it really wasn't a good experience. It felt like a massive chore to go back to the areas of the game that you'd already discovered, only to pick up these artifacts. And some of these artifacts are incredibly difficult to find, some of them hidden away in far-flung corners of the map, and some of them are just hidden in plain sight. I had to follow a guide even playing through this game for a second time. It almost takes me back to the sort of NES-style games where you have no idea of where to go without following a guide in a magazine, but luckily for today, there's plenty of guides online if you need to follow one. There are some quality of life and extras within the game. The remaster isn't bloated with extras, but it nails the essentials. The unlockable art galleries are cool for fans, and unloading times are drastically reduced. The UI is cleaner, and the scanning, the key part of the lore, is more intuitive, with better control of responsiveness. The only downside is no motion aiming whilst using the dual sticks. You have to choose one scheme or the other. Also, there's no new content or bonus modes, so if you're looking for big new features, you won't find them in this version. And let me just go over some of the issues that I had whilst replaying through this game. It still feels and plays very much like a game from 20 years ago. We've already touched briefly on the backtracking, and by design, this is a Metroidvania and is expected, but Metroid Prime pushes this hard, sometimes to the point of tedium. Without a fast travel system, you'll often find yourself running across the entire map repeatedly just to scan one item or open one new door. And every time you do this, the enemies respawn, making it even worse if you take a wrong turn just to fight the same enemies over and over again. There's no XP to grind for, or no items to collect, so some of these fights seem almost pointless. We've already discussed going back through collecting the 12 artifacts, but it is a real chore. You spend hours zigzagging back through old rooms just to track down key items that you've missed, and the game doesn't mark these on the map. It's classic design, but it really did feel like padding. It has a really unique way of telling its story through scans, but this system, whilst immersive, hasn't aged that well. Important lore is scattered across dozens of tiny data entries that unless you go out your way to scan nearly everything, you'll miss a lot, and it's personally something that I didn't even bother with. Constantly flipping to your scanning visor breaks the flow. You'll enter a new room, freeze mid-combat to scan an enemy in the terminals, then move on. It's a system that rewards patience but punishes momentum, and some of the players may find this exhausting over the time. Even with some of its downfalls, I'd still encourage you to give this game another go, but just don't expect your memories to be such as fond as they were. Metroid Prime Remastered is a blueprint on how to honour a classic. It keeps the spirit, structure and gameplay of the original intact, whilst updating the visuals and controls to a modern standard. Whether you're discovering Talon 4 for the first time or returning after decades, it's still one of the best experiences you can have on Nintendo Switch. An essential play for Metroid fans, a masterclass in remastering, and a reminder of how exploration-driven games can still captivate in 2025. There you have it. There's some of my thoughts on the Metroid Prime Remastered in 2025. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a like. If you didn't, please give it a dislike. If you've got any thoughts or comments, please leave them in the comment section below. Thanks for watching.